Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Of Dice and Them. I am your games master for this evening. My name is Tove. We are a tabletop RPG actual play podcast, and this evening we will be playing Blades in the Dark.
Now, you are not Jack, is that correct?
Did I say I was? Because I'm
I don't.
new to this talking thing.
No, sorry.
Did I say I was?
I was going for a bit of light-hearted banter.
Yeah, Ralph was trying to do a quick 1-2.
I thought maybe we could start
and you
off
just
with a
really
bit.
slammed that into the ground. But in the
My
best
brain
way
was all
possible.
set up to start introducing people, and it was just, no, fine, fuck the rails. We're off. Joining me is Ralph.
Hello.
Joining Ralph is Lou.
Hello, Ralph.
Joining Lou is Bambi.
Howdy.
And joining Bambi is our erstwhile Dungeon Master, Jack.
I don't really like the change in dynamic here, but, actually, I'm okay with it. You guys run the show. I'll just sit here and I'll go Paul Foxcraft on your ass.
I don't like it, but actually I'm okay with it.
I've changed. I grew throughout the sentence.
Yeah, it's an instantaneous change of heart.
I am drinking a dark beer for the dark and mysterious and crime-filled world we're about to find ourselves immersed.
You're bringing the dark. Let the rest of us bring the blades.
Yeah, well, I bring the dark. One of you brings the in.
I can do that one, I reckon.
My wine's got a the on it. I can do the.
What the?
Sorry, for the benefit of our listening audience, Jack has brought a blade and is sort of
Swiping at his camera.
Jack will be playing the cutter this evening.
I am actually playing the cutter this evening, in both heart and mind.
Shall we meet our characters? We've got a little bit of a prelude. So when last we left our heroes, they were celebrating a great victory that I won't go into too many details on, just in case you're skipping directly to the bits where I'm GMing. As we see our heroes celebrating, the camera pans out into the clouds above the world of Saren, and it zooms off to the north. Miles and miles it covers through the pre-dawn gloom until we approach the city of Saren. Built over a canyon, the spires of Saren stretch into the sky and glisten in the pink light of dawn. But we don't stop at the spires, we go down. We go down through the bridges that are already bustling with commerce, and we go down further into the canyon, down into the muck and the grime and industrial adjective that we find below Saren. I was like, I won't write something. Down further into the industrial gloom we go until we reach the bottom of the canyon.
Good save.
We see a small figure, a goblin in wooden clogs, making her way through the cobblestone streets that wind down here in the undercity of Saren. She makes her way to a building, a ramshackle tavern. She opens the front door and is assailed with the stench of a night of revelry that has died down at long last. She sees 4 figures in the gloom. And she says, "Wake up, you damn layabouts! You've been leeching off me for too long. It's time you did me a favour." And she strides over to the first figure, grabs them by the hair and wrenches them up into the light of the dawn. And who, Ralph, does she see?
She sees. It's funny enough that she pulled him up by the hair, because he is covered in it, for he is a bugbear. He is a rather hulking figure. We joke about Gladstone's height. We don't joke about Gladstone's height. It's all canon. But he is about 7 foot tall. And as far as game terms go, he is a hound, which is the sort of tracker, scouting sort of class.
So does that make him a bug dog or a dog bear?
A hound bear.
Ain't none but a hound bear.
Oh.
Yeah. What would you like to know?
I'm thinking maybe shall we go around and just sort of wrap up the narrative description of everyone, and then we'll sort of dive into the rules of Blades, because I imagine we'll sort of want to explain things as we go, and it might get a little bit choppy.
Yes, please explain.
Please
buy
tell us
enough
how to play this
time.
game.
And buy enough time for Bambi to actually create his character, because that will not have happened before this point.
Can do. So the goblin reels back from the smell of the bugbear and thinks, no, I will look at another one first. Lou, who is sat next to this bugbear?
Yeah, we joked about Ralph making another tall person. I've made another small person, but not as small as my last one. She's just kind of scraggly and scrawny. She's a grubby looking tiefling with kind of matted. She's just a dirty, grubby
dirty girl.
Just a grubby, dirty little girl that just kind of looks a bit tatty and threadbare. And yeah.
And what playbook is she? Since we've had the hound for Ralph.
Well, I'm surprised that she managed to grab her out of the shadows and see where she is, because she is a lurk.
And across from this tiefling lurk, Jack, who do we see?
So after a large character and a small character, you pan across. The camera pans across to a very different character to both of those previous two.
And this one's just right.
Just right.
And the most medium character.
Yes, so Goldilocks you never could see. No, you see quite a large creature that stands up before you on all of her four legs. A great centaur with a lovely, luscious, golden, sort of kind of white gold, almost like Lannister-esque kind of white gold. Think Joffrey. Gold hair that comes back in this plait. Unlike the stinky bugbear and the grubby tiefling, this lass is well put together. She is one groomed lady. She's got everything in the right place. She looks ready to dance. She's got some bulging biceps. She's always ready to fight because, Tove, she is a cutter.
I'm looking forward to finding out what she's doing here. So perhaps riding the centaur or somewhere else in the room?
No, Peter, no one rides this lady.
Bambino.
Yeah, so doesn't stand, doesn't get up, doesn't react, looks very, very displeased to have been ordered in any way.
Is Bambi.
Is me. Yeah, that's it. Is a human. Nice classic. 5'11", brown curly hair, wearing clothes which look expensive, although very grubby and run down. You would expect someone wearing those kind of clothes to maybe replace those clothes every day with a similar style, definitely from wealth, but hasn't replaced the clothes in a while. But yeah, just looks pretty pissed to have been ordered around. And this character, however, is a slide.
I was ready to help you out there.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're doing today is going to be our session 0. So we're going to run through the characters, fill in our character sheets, I imagine everyone except for Lou needs to do, and talk a little bit about rules and some safety tools. I thought we might flirt with that idea, which we haven't really brought up before.
Good.
But it's a session 0.
Yep.
We started with Lou. We might as well... No, we didn't. We started with Ralph. So we started with Ralph.
Ralph, the other Lou.
Let's look at your character sheet, Ralph, and we'll go through the character sheet creation process.
I would love to be a tutorial for everyone else.
Yeah, so everyone else pay attention. We've chosen a playbook. You are playing the Hound, which is the tracking class.
Mm-hmm.
Or playbook. We need to stop calling it classes to get away from the monolith that is D&D.
In the words of Jack, we are not a D&D podcast.
We're finally proving that we're not a D&D podcast.
We've listened to your feedback, we've taken it on board, we've answered the angry emails by the dozen, and we're finally playing a game that isn't D&D. Are you happy, listener?
That is, of course, unless Wizards of the Coast want to send us any
podcast.
In which case, we will be nothing but 5e or D&D 1, whatever.
Wall to wall.
Also, do we explain at some point that we're sort of going to do this kind of thing where we do little side stories in different systems, and we will be, we've not just abandoned
we're gonna
the
do
5e.
That would be good to put somewhere in.
Gladstone
This is
will
just a
return.
little side thing we're going to do. Yeah, we're just sort of taking a break from the main story.
Yeah. This is minor and low quality. We'll get back to the high quality, unprepared mulch that I squirt out on a regular basis.
Well, I like mulch.
Yeah.
I didn't like squirt out.
Okay, so the Blades in the Dark game comes with this setting, which we are sort of borrowing bits from. We are still set in the world of Erin, so we are bringing typical fantasy races along. So we're not really going to do stuff like the Blades heritage, which I don't think really affects characters anyway in the game, unless you want to make it such. So no problem there. Onto background, though. What is this bugbear's recent history before deciding to go off and become a scoundrel?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Background wasn't one of the things on the list.
You specifically asked for like 4 things.
I prepared.
One of them should have been background.
And I prepared 3 of them, I'll have you know. So the vague idea I have for this character is that he was brought into the city by a noble household and sort of brought up as a bit of a curiosity. Of sort of a, hey, come to our soirees, we've got a bugbear who is sort of part of the family and wears a suit. Isn't that novel? Ha 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 ha, have some more canapes. And,
I mean, that works as background. That's exactly what I was looking for.
So yes, I don't know which of your little boxes that would fit into.
Well, there's a noble one.
Boom.
I mean, he's not, but we'll put
He
that.
isn't
A
specifically noble,
dilettante,
but he has.
a courtier, the scion of a fallen house, etc.
Sorry, Tove, if I may. When
Of course.
you pick your background, Ralph, you choose one of the generic background types, and then you add an extra word, a detail about it that's specific to your character. So
All right, little miss, I've read the rule book. So would that be like noble, something?
Or
Noble, pet.
Curiosity.
noble curiosity.
Sounds good. So next on the to-do list is to pick your action dots. So in Blades in the Dark, you don't have like 15 strength or 14 charisma. There are 12 different skills that you choose from, each with an available 4 quote-unquote dots. And those dots dictate how many d6 you roll when you come to do a check against that skill, for example, in an action roll. So as a hound, you start out just given with 2 in hunt and 1 in survey.
Mm-hmm.
You, however, can assign 4 more action dots,
4. Okay.
as long as none of them go above 2.
Put 1 dot in any action that you feel reflects your character's heritage. Put 1 dot in any action that you feel reflects your character's background. Assign 2 more dots anywhere you please. Max rating is 2, remember.
Yeah, more people who have read the rulebook.
Reading.
Actively reading.
Yes.
As a bugbear, I definitely think I'm naturally stealthy, so I'll put a point in prowl. I'd quite like to be good at just wrecking shit, so I'll put a point in wreck as well. Background's kind of a tricky one, because I don't see him being particularly good at consorting, which sort of feels like the kind of thing that
What about
would
sway?
come from the background.
Sway someone with charm, logic, deception, disguise, or bluff.
Yeah, he maybe could have picked up a few things while watching the nobles cavort around.
I mean, specifically,
Or study,
I feel
maybe.
like bluffing and
Study, maybe, that
Deception.
he had the opportunity to just study what was going on around him and learn.
Oh,
bits.
actually, yeah, I think I prefer study than sway. Sort of a background of paying attention
Of
at
watching
parties.
things.
That's,
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's study is more like looking through newspaper clippings or going through the archives. Survey is more like looking what's going on around you and things like that.
Which you are allowed to add a point to.
Yeah.
It's not allowed to go above 2.
I still think that examining things with scrutiny, I think
It does say study a
quite
person
like for him.
on this.
Yeah,
So that gives me 2 more. No, sorry, 1 more to assign.
1 left.
I've got nothing in this resolve category, in this...
in the bottom 4.
In the bottom
Yeah,
4.
can
Does that
wouldn't
tell
that
you
be
that's
awful?
important. It might matter because in Blades in the Dark, if we come to a point where you are suffering a consequence, like, for example, if I say, I shoot you in the face, you take level 4 harm, which means you die, you'd say, no, I want to resist that, and you automatically reduce the consequence by 1 level, so you get shot in the chest instead, for example.
I see.
And then you take 6 stress minus a dice roll based on one of those 3 groupings: insight, prowess, or resolve.
Cool. I like that.
So if you've got nothing in resolve, you won't do very well at resisting things to do with resolve.
So if anybody else didn't have any points in resolve, that would also be a problem.
If you
Someone
were
who'd
being
already filled
affected
in
by
their character
something-
sheet.
Yeah, if you were being affected by something
Maybe.
resolved, so presumably if somebody was trying to command or consort or sway you in a similar kind of vibe, that kind of vibe, is that what we're talking about?
Yes, potentially.
I assume because a tune is in resolve, it would be specifically like a powerful magical effect
Exactly.
has done you a
Yeah.
huge amount of
So
harm,
it wouldn't matter how,
for example.
strong or insightful you
Yeah.
are if you get...
Yeah.
So-
Or if you attempt to attune and it goes badly,
Sure.
a ghost may blow up your head.
So in that case, I've put a point in command because I quite like the idea of him being a bit intimidating.
He can shout loud.
So for those paying attention, that is 2 points in hunt, 1 in study and survey, 1 in prowl and wreck, 1 in command.
Very good. That brings us to your special ability, which you can see in the middle of your playbook / character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I won't make you read all of them, but if you want to maybe pick one and let us know what it does, we can talk it over.
What I quite liked the look of was Scout. When you gather info to locate a target, you get +1 effect. When you hide in a prepared position or use camouflage, you get +1 dice to rolls to avoid detection. So
Sounds pretty good.
again, the sort of the bugbear heritage, I just quite like the idea of him being a big guy, but he can just be in a room and you don't notice him until it's too late, basically. Which I know is sort of possibly stepping on lurk toes a little bit, but I think it sort of goes in the scouting sort of.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have people who are good at the same things, because it means that if someone leads a group action, then they're not completely carrying the entire team.
Sure.
Next is to choose a close friend and a rival. So they give you a few suggestions on the sheet there. Do you have any ideas about someone in the city already who you might A, be friends with, and B, dislike?
Well, I thought a sort of rival built into the background is someone from this noble household that I've escaped from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how much into specifics you want to get at this point, or whether it's just basically here are some story threads that you can play with.
I think
we
it's
sort of flesh
along
them
those
out.
lines. I'm resisting the urge to pull out my big stack of paper about the noble family that you have escaped from.
Sure.
So if you maybe want to pluck a name and a vague thread we could potentially pick up later. Or if you don't fancy it, we'll just say, it'll come up later.
I'm rubbish at thinking of names on the spot, so I will get back to you with that. And as far as an ally goes, I quite like. Have you seen Miss Saigon?
I haven't.
So there's a character called the Engineer who I've always thought would be quite a good like criminal contact character. Basically just a real scumbag, a real sort of scavenger who can turn absolutely every situation to their own benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, it's the kind of character who will crop up in any situation and it sort of makes sense because they've just got this new business going and this one's hot, this one's going to go.
They have their
and
fingers in so many pies.
Yeah, loads of pies and sort of can feed information, and Hound is kind of assumed to be kind of a bit of a bounty hunter kind of character. So having a contact who knows a little bit about a lot of stuff, I think is quite a useful thing. But also, of course, can't be 100% trusted. Would probably sell anyone out for the right price. So...
Cool.
Like Jonathan Pryce, who played the engineer in the original Broadway show, that famously Vietnamese actor.
Famously Vietnamese French actor,
Jonathan Pryce.
Yeah.
Okay, finally for you, Ralph, is your vice. So all scoundrels in Blades in the Dark have something they're obsessed with, and that gives them something to do in downtime. It gives them a bit of a motivation for why they are out scoundreling. Do you have an idea of what yours is?
My vice is faith, I have decided.
Tell me more.
He has found out about a somewhat forgotten god who is the bugbear god of dreams and nightmares. And he is attempting to commune with this lost god so that he can track people through their very dreams.
Sexy. Hopefully that comes up.
We
don't know how long this series is going to be. Nice. Okay, so the very last thing on the character creation summary sheet is about your loadout, but that sort of thing, unlike other TTRPGs, comes up on a score-to-score basis. So when we are deciding to go out on a score or / mission, whatever, you say how encumbered you're going to be, and then you tick off items as you use them, so you're pulling them out of your pack and up to the limit of how encumbered you are. And that's, in terms of mechanics, just tells the game master how obvious it is that you're a scoundrel. Like, if you are carrying a bag which could be full of bombs, I'll be like, oh, that guy looks like a scoundrel who's carrying a load of bombs. Whereas if you commit to having a light loadout, I'll be like, oh, you could blend into a crowd, no problem.
But you've got less stuff that you can pull out of the bag.
Yeah, exactly.
What if you're a golden centaur lady who probably can't blend into any crowd?
Oh, yeah, Jack's
What if you're just a goddess of a person?
I don't need to blend.
He probably wants a name, right?
Have you got a name?
I've got a name. Kuza.
As in Yakuza?
As in Kuuza.
Oh, as in Jacques?
As in fuck off.
Next on our list, Lou.
Hello.
You basically have a sheet, right? Do you want to?
I do have a sheet, but I now need to change the sheet because I've also given myself 0 in resolve.
Oh, well, that could be fun if you ever have to resist a like mind control from a ghost or something.
It does mean you'll be quite good at the other stuff, though.
Yeah, I'm quite good at other stuff, just not at those. I'm relatively well balanced between insight and prowess, just nothing in resolve.
And we've run through your playbook, which is Lurk, your heritage, which is Tiefling, your background, we haven't touched on yet. Do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of a background?
Yeah, so my character, his background is Underworld, and somehow she ended up on the street very young. Whether that was through abandonment, or whether she ran away, or whether she was orphaned, or whatever, she ended up out on our ear at a very young age. Like, I'm thinking like 4 before you're really whatever else, and was kind of picked up by this gang, or just kind of enveloped into this gang, and because didn't come with any documentation and was probably quiet, maybe probably traumatized, didn't come with anything. So she's called Gecko, which is not her real name, but she does not know what her real name is. But when she got taken in, she just would blend into corners.
Suns herself on rocks.
Yeah.
Licks her own eyeballs.
Yeah. So after she'd licked her eyeballs for a few times, the other kids started calling her Gecko.
So on to action dots. You filled in a few already.
Yes.
We got one for heritage.
Yeah, so I gave her. So she already had. I can't remember if it was 1 in finesse and 2 in prowl, or 2 in finesse and 1 in prowl.
I imagine 2 in prowl being a lurk.
Yes, I think that probably was correct. Yeah, so she had 2 in prowl and 1 in finesse. So I put 1 in survey, because I think she probably had to watch her back a little bit around the other kids. I'm not sure some of them were nicer to her than others. But she probably had to look out for herself a little bit from very small. So yes, 1 in survey. And kind of, I suppose, 1 in hunt for the same kind of reason. Just kind of keen senses, being in the gang. I imagine it a slightly less musical theatre version of a kind of Oliver kind of, child whatever else thing. So, she would be doing, at least initially, small-time pickpocketing and things like that. So being able to follow people and doing that kind of thing would be good. And then that probably moved on to more higher scale, sort of smaller burglaries and lock boxes at market stalls and things like that. So I've put 1 in Tinker.
Sounds like another character we may be able to mention.
And then I just I knocked finesse up to 2 as well.
Cool.
Because I think she's pretty but that does mean I have 0 in resolve, which you've just warned Ralph out of.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, maybe.
Okay. I feel like she's mostly selectively mute and is a bit of a weird kid that was probably traumatized, so I just don't see her being particularly intimidating
her resolve
or
probably
charismatic.
Is fairly low.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could make a potential suggestion, if you did want to put a point in resolve, a tune could potentially be interesting from the heritage, because tieflings have that kind of infernal magic link.
True.
But equally, going glass cannon with it and just, she's not good at resolve. Bah, sorry, deal with it, is also very good.
You're also not completely screwed if you do want to try attune, command, consort, sway, because you can push yourself at the cost of stress. So you're not just doomed to never be able to do those things.
Also, you've got 2d6 as a starting point, right?
Nope.
No.
If you have no points in something and you try and do it, the default is to have 2d6 and pick the lowest.
One.
Oh, damn. Well, I've changed my mind and I will be spreading my points across everything else.
Just 1 in each.
So for Gecko, do we have a special ability?
I've gone with Shadow for what I assume is obvious reasons. So you may expend your special armor to resist a consequence from detection or security measures, or to push yourself for a feat of athletics or stealth.
Excellent. I was hoping no one would bring special armor up in Session 0, because I haven't read what that does yet. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
My understanding is it's sort of like a bonus action, right? If you've got a thing that says you can use it once. If you don't have a thing that says you can use it, you don't have it. Basically,
it sort of gets applied to whatever it is that you use it for. So a cutter would use it as armor. A lurk obviously uses it for, I don't know, maybe it's a smoke bomb or something.
Speaking of cutter...
Whoa.
No, not quite.
No. Don't you come galloping in.
No!
Horse puns.
Do we have a close friend or a rival in mind with your character?
So the gang that Gecko grew up in was the same gang as one Light on the Lake at Midnight.
Oh, he sounds cool.
I never heard of him.
Oh, you're in for a treat. You should go listen to the other episodes.
Shan't.
Go to our podcast feed of Dice and them. So I'm taking Light. I'm taking Light as my friend.
Interesting.
Okay.
I think she's a bit of a weirdo, and maybe he kind of looked after her because they were sort of both kind of non-human looking. Maybe I don't really know why. I think he's a bit older than her, and she just kind of stuck to him a little bit. Maybe she even carried a little torch for him or something in the kind of childlike way. Obviously, entirely unreflected.
We'll hadn't planned for him to appear in this, so you might be a little bit stuck if you ever need a friend. But
which is strange, Toad, because I messaged you and told you this was going to happen.
Yeah, that's not what I got from it. But okay.
My suspicion would be that this would be like a later reboot series where they can afford the original actor for one episode and they turn up right at the start and say, you've got it from here, kid. I'm so proud of and our long friendship that we've had this whole time. Anyway, bye.
Counterpoint. Could this be the complete opposite, and it's actually the previous series, and Light on the Lake of Midnight steals the scene so much that they have to make a new show all about Light on the Lake of Midnight?
So are we saying that the
main podcast is the spin-off of this?
The main podcast
yeah,
is
like
this
Frasier.
One's Joey.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking Frasier rather than Joey.
Oh, really? Because I was thinking Joey.
Should we pick the more successful of the two?
Potentially, the friend doesn't necessarily need to be Light. That maybe when Light left, he kind of nominated someone to look out for her or something. So if that needs to come up at any point, then potentially that's a thing that could happen.
That would be good. That makes him a lot more thoughtful than I've been playing him, which is quite a nice little tidbit to bring in. Did you have a rival in mind?
I didn't. That's about I didn't.
Gecko has
really.
no rivals.
Everyone is either friendly towards her or neutral on her.
I was going to say friendly or dead.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a particular rival in mind because I don't think anyone's ever been really very nice to her apart from Light. So I didn't really know to have anyone in particular.
Cool. Yeah, maybe you'll make a rival.
Yeah, I don't think she was very popular.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, feel free.
Enter Jack's character.
Not yet.
Oh.
I
keep trying.
For Vice.
No, I just keep trying for some cool segues.
You put those segues away.
Jack, if you keep doing this, we're going to skip you and move on to Bambi.
I keep trying to come up with a nice segue to help, and I'm just making it worse.
Get off the segue. Take your helmet off.
Stop equining and let's finish Lou's character.
Vice me.
So, everything I've sort of made her this sort of dirty, grubby little grub that kind of wears dark clothing and has dark hair and lurks in the shadows. And a bit of me wanted to give her a kind of grimy Vice. And then I thought, people are shades of grey, It's not all just black and black. So I've decided to have her Vice as luxury. And I see her as having this sort of like weird little unnerving laugh where like she's pretty much terrified of stuff, but she just laughs at things. And I think she almost kind of dares herself to, I think she breaks into people's houses while they're gone and like puts on their clothes and eats their posh food from their fridge.
Oh my God.
And runs a bath, and stays for like 5 hours. Yeah.
That was the exact word in my mind as well.
I love that it started so cool and shadowy and mysterious, and now I'm like, who's this little fucking grubby weirdo?
It's exactly what I tried to make.
I also love that your vice to recover from crime is do different, more crimes.
Crime, but different.
Crime, but relaxing.
Crime, but I'm alone and I'm in the bath.
Yeah, put a face pack on and have a glass of wine in someone
It's
else's
not your
bath.
wine, though, is it?
How old is Gecko?
Yeah, probably not a glass of wine.
Yeah, that would be weird if she was drinking wine at such a young age. That would be weird and horrible.
Yeah,
Murdering people.
Yeah, we haven't done the
she's
safety
definitely-
tools bit yet.
Yeah,
so
Should we have done the safety tools before this?
I think we should have done.
Yeah. No, I
go
mean,
on.
strike that from the record. How old is Light?
Early 20s.
Okay,
22,
so she.
let's say.
Oh, okay, I was gonna make her a few years younger, but I don't want to make her a teenager.
20.
You've already got one of them.
Exactly. Okay, maybe she's like 19, so she's just a few years younger than Light.
Cool. You can still play her like naive and a creep. So
Yeah.
Okay. Now, someone's been very patiently holding their horses this
Oh!
entire time.
No, they
Jack.
fucking
Yes, dear
haven't.
listener.
No, they fucking haven't.
Dear listener, it is I. I know you've been going through this episode for so long without hearing my dulcet tones, and you're thinking, what is this? What is this weirdly high quality podcast and episode, and why is it so different from the usual fare? But no fear, I am returned.
And I'm looking at your character sheet now. I see the name isn't filled in.
No.
I do see fine heavy weapon is coloured in.
Yes.
That's all I can see.
Yes, I didn't want to fill the name in because I didn't want to spoil it.
Okay. Well, now is the time to spoil it.
You
really.
want the name first?
We've talked about how you're a cutter. We've talked
I
about
think
how you're a
name
centaur.
right at the end is
I
is
think
sort of
name
the
right at the
traditional
end.
one, and just awkwardly get through the rest
Yeah,
without
I
saying
think-
the name.
I think-
For some reason, just make a decision to do that.
No, I think that works. Okay, so yeah,
Background would be the first thing.
background.
we kick off
It's
with.
kind of up to you.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No. As in,
I
I'm gonna
I
tell
think
you.
it's sort of up to you, Jack.
Well, if you let me, Jesus! Even when I'm not DMing, you guys are a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
We
Let's get
literally
there
were
together.
saying this before you came on.
This
Oh,
is-
yeah, we were also taking the piss out of you before you got on the call. If it helps.
I know.
Yeah,
I
you
came
were
into
here and we were giving you shit.
Yeah, so they very much a sort of bouncer at some of the more nefarious places. And so that kind of leans in. She's been used as an enforcer, a bit of a brute occasionally. She's sort of... so it kind of leans towards the military stuff, which is kind of mercenary, doing what needs. But there's also a lot of the underworld sort of thuggy... I feel she feels, to me, more like military and less thuggy, undercover, underworldy. But that's also the world we're in.
Potential segue there. So, providing sort of police services for the undercity of Saren is a group called the Millets, and they are sort of referred to as the biggest gang in the undercity, basically, because they are so corrupt and so willing to take bribes. They used to be a militia that fought in the war. So, when they then sort of transitioned into more of a police force, perhaps if she was in the original militia, she decided not to go into the police, but to just do underworldly things instead.
And so if that were the case, if every time we got to a new place, I could make a D100 roll and we could call it the We Are the Millets rule.
The answer will always be yes. There are always police.
Fine, excellent.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
God.
Okay, let's stick with military then, because I feel that fits her, because she doesn't feel like a sort of crimey person at her core. She felt more military before, and she's just found herself in the undercity of Saren. So what do you want to know next?
Next, we move on to action dots.
Action dots.
So run us through what you've added.
Yeah, so I had 1 in command and 2 in skirmish as my standardino preparation. And
that's what you get for being a cutter.
That's what I get for being a cutter. I went balls to the wall and put 2 in survey.
Mm-hmm.
Or wait, am I allowed to, is there specific things I'm allowed to do?
No, you can do anything.
I can do anything.
Up to 2.
As long as it fits. So I went in 2 in survey just because she's working as a bouncer, she's working as a military person or a mercenary, she's sizing people up, that's what she does. She checks for threats, she looks at people, she's observant, that's her entire deal. And the other thing is sway someone with charm, logic, deception, disguise, or bluff. So,
she's hot, basically.
Yeah, she's hot, and she's never been one to be loud, intimidating. or a sort of a consort which is like diplomatic and get connections. She's always been quite straightforward, but like charming. She's charming. That's what she does. So she uses that, the charm. She uses a bit of bluff occasionally and stuff like that. And so it's all. She's basically quite a seductive person in how she interacts with people anyway. She would rather do that than tell someone to do something, if that makes sense.
Which of her hips does she shake?
They don't lie, I can tell you that much.
Okay, so that's action dots. Shall we go to special ability?
Special ability I've gone for not to be trifled with. You can push yourself to do one of the following. Perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman, or engage a small gang on equal footing in close combat. Basically, I just felt like her physical prowess is her thing. That's what she trains for. That's what she works with all the time. So it's like, on occasions, there have been occasions where she is on her own and there's a bunch of bad boys, or anything in between. So there has been occasions where she's just had to just deal with it. And I also think she's got that like push of power, being
because she's a fucking horse.
Because she's a fucking horse. Horse girl.
So the special ability mule didn't appear.
I saw the special ability mule, and it made me chuckle to myself. And I thought, if I would be so upset if somebody said that. And I imagine lots of people have taken the piss out of her and been horrible to her because there's not many centaurs around Saren.
Yeah, I mean, the whole half of the city only accessible via stairs. I imagine she's stuck down here. Right?
Yeah, I mean, and people, that centaurs are not city dwellers typically. Anyway.
City's not built for them.
Yep, absolutely.
Press the duck.
Exactly.
Under every doorframe. So after a special ability, we are on to friend and rival, your dangerous friends.
So my dangerous friends, is that what it is? Are they a dangerous friend?
Well, it'd be boring if they were just, your mate Steve.
Okay. Well, we might.
The idea is that they will potentially help you with scores, or they may try and hinder
really?
you during scores.
Okay. Well.
Or someone you go to for information or for downtime.
Maybe I'll change this one then. Okay, so basically, her friend is her main sort of beau and lover, which is Hannah. Hana, even. I don't know why I said it wrong. That's so annoying. Who's a beautiful dancer at the Moonlight Serene. And so basically, that's the establishment that my character, who has not yet been named on the podcast, frequents. And so she guards that place. She works for that place quite often. And so I think maybe we can say that through that, we've got a lot of connections to other people, maybe got a lot of dirt on other people. There's opportunities through that, but basically that's one of the reasons why my character stays on the up and up, tries to maintain her looks and everything. A, because she's sort of customer facing and needs to be loud and proud, but also B, a lot of her thing is about swaying, and she's in love with someone, so she doesn't want to go around looking.
She used to work at a bordello, so
yeah.
We've got that going for her as well. Yeah, so that will work really well if you're trying to get dirt on someone for a score.
Exactly.
She would be a good
Just
friend
go
to
to
have.
Hannah or some of her girls and boys.
Rival?
Rival is Erdolan. So Erdolan is a crime boss. I won't tell you which one, because you probably know more about the gangs down here than I do, because you wrote them all. So basically, I say I'm not going to go into details. I haven't thought of any details about what exactly.
Makes it easy, then.
Yeah, what exactly happened. But I kind of feel like her group of people were sort of attacked or raided, or something horrible happened when she was very young, and he's put himself as he saved her. But it sounds very much like he just sort of captured her and kidnapped her and forced her to work for him in the gang. And then, it might have been, oh, this is fun, this is interesting, this is a centaur. But, as she grew really massive and strong and very warlike and militaristic and very keen to enforce. And so she actually became, as you said, Undercity, you're not getting to get any knights down here. You're not going to get any sort of massive, big armies. So actually a fucking centaur kicking down your door is quite terrifying. So,
yeah, she would have been quite in demand for any gangs like that. Okay, next on the list is Vice.
So her vice is pleasure. So gratification from lovers, food, drink, drugs, art, theatre. So gratification from Hana, but also just generally She likes to be liked. She likes to be the center of attention, or certainly being able to, consort with people and chat to people and all of those things. So that's why she keeps herself prim and proper. She's quite prideful about her appearance and that she's strong and powerful. So I think that's her vice for multiple reasons. A, she'll go out of her way to maintain those. B, if things go wrong that lead her to looking more like a grubby gecko, then she's gonna be she'll get upset, and that'll throw her off her game, I think.
Whereas when Gecko goes and has a bath in a stranger's, she doesn't come out and just think, oh, I smell weird now. I don't want to seem like that weird horse lady.
To go crawl up a chimney to get dirty again.
Yeah.
And that weird horse lady, does she have a name?
She does. So I was trying to think of something like, there was like Shadowfax or something that was a really cool name. And then I was thinking like something like, fast wind or something. And then I kind of like the idea of horse being part of the name, but that sounded weird. So I asked my partner what horse is in Hungarian, and it's law. And I was like, okay, so what about like Swift Law or something? So I've gone for Anastasia Law Swift, but her friends call her Tay. So Tay Law Swift is my name for this
I hate you.
Series. I'm drinking it in. You can hate me as much as you like. I'm just loving it. Our listeners will love it too.
Does she, I don't know, write mediocre music or anything like that?
Brilliant music, actually. One of the finest performances
No,
of
that
our
doesn't
time.
sound right. No.
One of the finest performances of our time. And that suits her blondie golden locks. And I will sing all of her songs at you if you don't move on to Bambi.
Great, so we sit with a copyright strike at the same time.
Small point that I realised when Jack was talking about the skill points, not skill points. What are they called?
Action dots.
Action dots?
Action points. Action dots. Yeah. I put a point in rec because I misunderstood things. I think that point should actually be in skirmish.
Yeah, rec is for breaking things, skirmish is fighting.
Whereas skirmish is fighting.
Yeah.
I thought they were basically two different kinds of fighting.
But
and
I was really
wanted
drawn
to be
on
good at fighting.
to put something in rec because it does feel like that's something she often does. So I'm half tempted to take one out of sway and put it in rec because I feel like she does.
Do what you like
things.
and keep us up to date, I guess. Bambi, shall we move on to you?
Yeah, sure. Let's do this.
So we have your playbook. You are a slide, which is the...
Yeah.
Let me get out your sheet. A subtle manipulator and spy.
That's me.
Your heritage, we didn't talk about what you are.
A human.
Human, excellent, good start. And your background?
Background is noble, but with the extra word, it would be a disinherited noble.
Ooh.
So I had a little written description that I wrote to you, and that is what I'm sticking with. So he is a non-favoured son of a wealthy businessman noble who was disinherited for something. The rival... Oh, no, that's skipping ahead. So yeah, that's basically it.
Full stop.
Yeah, full stop. So yeah, disinherited noble was in line to receive a massive fortune and potentially be one of the most powerful people in the city, but is now with these guys.
Now with these schmucks.
Yeah.
So how does that inform your action dots? I'm not actually sure what a slide gets as default.
1 in consort.
And you'll have 2 in something else.
It hasn't auto-filled it in, which is concerning.
Oof, well,
It's just because they knew it was you.
2 in sway, 1 in consort.
2 in sway, 1 in consort. Oh, maybe it's because Yeah. And then I get how many bonus?
You get 4 to put in whatever you like, as long as you don't go over 2.
Okay.
In any one skill.
So I've gone 2 in command, 2 in consort, 2 in sway.
Jeez,
Do you want to go 2 in attune as well and just max out resolve?
What is a tune again?
Okay, so
Ghost
this
ship.
gives me a nice segue to talk about the magic in this world. So the premise of Blades is that it is a sort of industrial revolution city which is set in a world where the gates of hell have been smashed open and everything came out. So there's ghosts everywhere, and when you die, you just become a ghost. There's no afterlife to go to. That doesn't entirely fit with the world we've sort of built that comes from the D&D inspiration. So what we're saying is that during the Pyrrhic Wars that happened 25 years ago, Saren was targeted by essentially a magical dirty bomb, which has completely ruined how anyone casts magic in the city. So there's a ring around Saren that after you enter, spells all change and you're more affected by the veil being thin, and that you can still talk to ghosts like you would in the Blade setting, but kind of with a kind of D&D inspired flavour.
Is there still weird stuff going on with death specifically? Because I know that that's one of the Blades things. Or is the bell tolling when...
Yes, so in the Blade setting, with there not being an afterlife and everyone who dies becomes a ghost, there is an entire faction based around when someone dies. There is a magic way that rings a bell. Spirit crows or something go out and find the corpse, and then the spirit wardens come and dispose of the body. We'll probably do something a bit like that, because I think that's a cool premise.
Yeah,
Haven't put too much
the
thought into it
idea
yet,
is
but-
basically don't just solve all of your problems by killing people, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of the
Yeah.
idea behind it.
Yeah, some of us have played Dishonored. It's the same sort of, you get a different ending if you kill lots of people.
Because there's more rats, and rats is bad.
Yes.
But they are fun to set on people, though.
So to answer your question, Bambi, a tune is your spell casting, but anyone can do it, but obviously having more points in it makes you better at it.
Cool. So I get 8 total, right? Is
No,
that right?
7.
7. Okay, 1 in study.
I really sold you on the magic casting. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I was like, that sounds... the problem is I wanted 0 in everything. I really... I mean, I just...
We may yet arrive there.
Yeah, so I just try to pick maybe the most useless ones, but they might turn out to be really useful.
Yeah, well,
We'll
Bambi,
see.
as long as you never try to command and consort and sway and study, you do have a 0 in everything.
Oh, perfect.
So speaking of which, what's your special ability? Have you picked one that makes you better at commanding, consorting and swaying?
So it's from this list in front of me, right?
Yep, the grey box. There's sort of 8 to pick from. They say if you're not sure, pick the top one, because that's like a good default.
I thought Trust in Me is a good one. I quite like the idea of that manipulation.
Jack's
Kind of.
covering his face with his hand.
It's hilarious to me because you're the person I least trust whenever we play. The idea of trust in me is like all I trust about you when we play games is that I don't trust you. That's it.
So
yeah.
do you want to? What does Trust in Me do mechanically?
You get plus 1d versus a target with whom you have an intimate relationship.
Oh, that's a good segue. With whom do you have an intimate relationship?
So the friend, I thought would be a servant of the family or some kind of nanny. Obviously, the father was much too powerful and busy to really care or raise his children. So the only person that had a really intimate relationship with my character when they were young was, this person who raised them. So I think some sort of
Yeah, a nanny
family.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Also sounds like suitably pathetic for an adult noble to still be in contact with his nanny.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've just realised that the different playbooks have different types of friends, like Slides have sly friends rather than dangerous friends.
Ooh.
I read dangerous when I was looking at the Cutter playbook.
Oh,
I see that.
I have deadly friends.
Ooh.
Ooh, what do I have?
Scary.
And what about in Blades of the Dark? What does your character have?
I have shady friends.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
We're right here,
You're on
baby.
this call right now.
Yeah, I definitely feel like my character without the nanny would have been dead a long time ago. So,
Why don't you go off and join a gang, young man? They'll keep you safe.
Wasting yourself around here.
I like the idea of this sort of fall from grace, and then as soon as you hit the undercity, the nanny's like, right, business. I know exactly what we need to do here to set you up.
I'll have to peel back the
criminal
years,
society.
back to when I was a crime lord.
It's like Alfred. Whenever shit breaks bad, it's just like, oh yeah, no, he's ex special forces. He knows exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a thing, actually. Vimes' butler was like a
Yeah.
street thug.
It's a great trope.
It's a good trope.
If it ain't trope, don't fix it.
What about rivals for this noble man-child?
the rival will be the sibling who is the younger brother, who is now the heir to inherit the fortune.
The credited brother, rather than the discredited.
I mean, everyone's bad in some way. This person's just bad in the underworld.
Nice. So that brings us finally to your vice.
All of them? That's not possible, is it?
It might make it really hard for you to ever come out of downtime.
I think you sort of have to pick a primary one.
So I thought stupor. I think that drink and drugs was the cause of the fall, really.
No, that's good.
And it means I can just be incredibly drunk while playing, so...
Finally, an excuse. And our slide's name.
Randall Reinhard.
Randy.
Excellent.
Hey, Randy.
Let me check my notes for what I was going to do next.
So that's all for this week, folks.
You don't get to do that bit anymore.
So the final thing we do in terms of creation is to create the crew. So in Blades, characters can come and go, but the idea is that the crew will persist on and have its own levels and sort of investments that you make by completing scores. You have to pick a type of crew. The choices are assassins, bravos, occult, hawkers, shadows, smugglers, or vigilantes. And that sort of informs me as to what kind of scores you want to do. So if, for example, you pick assassins, I'm going to give you people to kill, and you will get XP for completing targets that assassins do. Does anyone have a suggestion for what kind of crew you would like to be?
I felt that we talked about this, and we talked about smugglers being an option.
We sure did.
Because, smuggling, I mean, it's like Han Solo, right? I mean, he's a smuggler, but he's get wrapped up in everything else. So it's kind of for a group that's clearly doing a little bit of everything, it feels like a more open thing. Whereas if we go like shadows, I mean, we can still do it and we can work it through. There's always a story. Just felt like smugglers would be a reason for us all to be working together. But to be honest, any of them works. We can work through anything. And if there's something that really people really want to go for, then that's fine. I guess, Tove, the question is also what kind of thing do you want to create for us?
Yeah, I suppose something like... I mean, any of them would work. Smugglers, we will be leaning more towards transporting cargo of some kind, because that's what smugglers get XP for. So you'd be prepared to have a vehicle and have a relationship with the vehicle and be manoeuvring the canals of the Undercity.
I'm not pulling it.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe Tay is like, no, we're not being fucking smugglers.
Jack is like, let's be smugglers. Tay is like, no, please, let's not be smugglers.
Potentially, we want to move away from shadows because you have a
maybe
centaur.
assassin. Maybe we're all about taking people out, and I'm kind of like that orc in the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion. That's the big orc in full plate armor. That's like, yes, I go and fight people.
What's could you enumerate the values of hawkers and bravos?
Certainly.
Don't immediately explain themselves to me.
So hawkers will be like the drug dealers of the group, or like black market kind of wheelers and dealers. So You might still be stealing stuff to then sell it, but I believe you would get XP from things like... I'm just going to find it in the book, hang on. So, when you play Hawkers, you earn XP when you acquire new product supply, execute clandestine or covert sales, or secure new sales territory. Instead of hunting grounds, you have a sales territory where you sell your product.
Can you do that for all of them?
Yeah, sure.
What you do when you do those? Even if this doesn't end up in the recording.
Yeah.
No, keep it all in. It's all gold.
My dulcet tones. Bravos. When you play Bravos, you earn XP when you execute a successful battle, extortion, sabotage, or smash and grab operation. When you play a cult, you earn XP when you advance the agenda of your deity or embody its precepts in action. Instead of hunting grounds, you have sacred sites that you use for your operations.
That sounds super cool. I mean, not at all fitting for this group, potentially, but super cool.
If you wanted to play a cult, we could say that it is a cult of Mink, whose precepts are steal things, being the sort of god of trickery and the downtrodden. Shadows. Thieves and spies. When you play Shadows, you earn XP when you execute a burglary, espionage, robbery, or sabotage operation.
See, maybe it's heist movies that have kind of got this into me, but I feel like Shadows is one that we could apply all of our skills for. Like, Ralph and I are, sneaky people, and you two are, we're the distraction, or we're going to get the information out of you, or we're going to kick down the door while someone else sneaks in the back. I like things like Bravos. I can't see me or Bambi doing. Assassins, I can't really see Jack doing. Just
it's more open. I feel like the Shadows is more open and splitting.
My instinct is Shadows or Assassins, but instead of killing people, it's like the bounty hunter kind of thing of we're bringing people in rather than necessarily killing them.
That could work.
I think if that's sort of
that might be a little close to the kind of D&D storylines we're doing. We're sort of already playing the good guys as in D&D.
Sure, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, we're bringing bad people to justice. I guess that's more vigilantes. It's more who's paying us. They need the person brought in, right? It's this guy's defaulted on a gambling debt. I want them so that I can kill them in front of all of my guys.
I guess
it doesn't have to be good.
I guess I felt like Blaze in the Dark was a bit more, we're doing a heisty, and I feel like most of us have built a character around people that would be good in a heist, and therefore I feel like possibly that's a case of not looking into the crews too much before we started building characters, but like having a face and having muscle and having someone that can track a mark and somebody that can sneak into places, like we're like if someone was making a heist movie, you would have those people.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely... I did like the idea of smugglers before we talked about it, but now that I've made the character, I feel like my character is based around there is a static location we need to get into. It's not we need to get stuff from place to place. It's there's a place. We case the joint. We do a thing.
I definitely
whatever
have
that thing is.
High sort of vibes in mind with my character. And the deliberate thing that I did with my character was to know that basically, more or less, it was going to be almost the antithesis of the rest of the group. And that, in which case, we need to be thinking about a crew where splitting up or having different objectives within the same team makes sense. Because otherwise, I've just made a character that's not congruent with the rest of the group, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens with me.
Yeah.
If we're like Bravos or Hawkers or something, because like no people skills and no.
So is the mood going Shadows? Is that what we're sort of swaying?
Well,
towards?
we're already bending all the rules anyway. I mean, Toph can just make us do what we want.
That's
Peek
true.
behind the curtain. You're doing the first heist that I've come up with, regardless of what you pick. So,
oh, don't worry.
And that does lean shadowy.
Yeah, so we're on the railroads.
Well, I feel like Shadow. I feel like Shadows you can basically do anything with, right? Because it could be you need to go and get the thing so that you
Yeah.
can get it somewhere else, and then that's kind of smuggling. Or it's we need to sneak in so that we can, get the guy, kill the guy, whatever.
If the listener could just stop listening for a second and you all have a look at the crew character sheet in Roll20, if I switch it to shadows, you can sort of see like what the advancement path is. So each crew has different turf that they attempt to sort of accumulate. So, for example, shadows have a loyal fence, might be something they go for first.
Ooh.
Bravos or smugglers wouldn't have
This
that.
game
They'd
is
have
cool,
something else.
man. I want a
We can
hagfish
get a
farm.
hagfish farm.
Hagfish farm was my nickname in high school.
Tavern.
Let's get a
Drug den. We should go straight to drug den and then tavern.
Playing in character already.
Covert drops are really good if one of us gets a sore throat.
Get out.
Oh, I like the special abilities. Do we get special abilities?
Yes,
Now,
so
do
you'll
we get
pick a
one now?
special ability.
Synchronized. I love it. Pack rats. Your lair is a jumble of stolen items. Ooh.
I don't hate it.
Would you like to look at any other character sheet or crew sheets?
I think shadows.
Are we enamoured?
I think shadows works. I mean,
I'm happy
I
to
think
go
seeing
with
another. I think seeing another one just
yeah,
to see
that's
what
true.
it's
That's
like.
true.
Is...
I mean, I guess the thing for me when we were talking about it was what mechanically, in D&D, if I was talking about creating a party that was all a little bit different, because then you can split up into two different things, you'd be shot and hung for being a heretic and never splitting the party.
Hanged.
Fucking bastards.
You may be shot and hung, but the correct word in this context is...
It's a good question, Jack. Are you hung?
Is this
We
in
need to do
character still?
safety tools. We need to do safety tools before we start talking about my penis.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Anyway, is it feasible in Blades in the Dark to have people going off and doing their own thing, or is everything going to be done together all the time? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can all go off, and what I like about Blades is that if someone goes off by themselves and gets ambushed by like 4 eels underwater, they are able to
I
sort
thought you
of...
said eels.
They're not then brought into combat, and everyone outside of combat then has to work in 6-second chunks. So you'll do rolls sort of as it comes to you to resolve the combat, but when you don't get that nitty-gritty in combat. So I think splitting up is a bit more feasible in Blades than it is in D&D.
Well, it's very dangerous in D&D, isn't it? Because you lose quickly against the structure of combat and the rules.
Yeah, being alone in Blades and being in a fight would reduce your position and your effect, which we'll talk about in future as those mechanics come up. But yeah, you're not just immediately mechanically doomed.
Cool.
Should we look at smugglers? Was that
Yeah.
sort of close second?
No drug den.
No hagfish farm.
Oh, why would you ever pick this crew?
Trash. Absolute trash.
1 star. Would not recommend.
Oh, warehouse though. So that could double up as a drug den. A warehouse full of drugs.
When you go into a conflict aboard a vehicle, you gain +1 effect for vehicle damage and speed. Your vehicle gains armor. The Reavers. I mean, in the Underdark, is there so loads of space for a big old vehicle?
I think with vehicles we would have to say they are barges and canal boats.
Yeah,
and
that makes
that's for transporting the industrial
for the great
stuff.
For the great canals stretching into the mountains.
Yeah, down into the mines. Presumably, a city built on bridges over a canyon was probably built by dwarves, and they probably do underground stuff.
Ooh,
so-
that's
They need to transport slag.
What do you call me?
You slag.
You slag.
You slag.
No, you slag.
You slag.
Yeah, I'm feeling shadows more than smugglers, I think.
Yeah, same.
Same.
I'll break it to you now. You don't have to pick a crew type right this second, but we can
Oh,
go
for
with shadows.
fuck's sake.
Then what are we
Could have all
doing
been in
funny
bed by
about
now.
picking a fucking crew type?
All of our listeners are infuriated about all that.
Both of them.
In addition to crew type, you pick a reputation.
Good. Excellent.
We can have ambitious, brutal, daring, honourable, professional, savvy, subtle, or strange. and that sort of
I mean,
informal.
we're pretty strange.
I do like professional.
I mean, Tay's pretty fucking professional. I'm just saying that right now.
Professionals have standards.
Tay is professional. 100.
Gecko's not.
But Tay is demonstrably also strange by virtue of being a fucking centaur.
It could also just be like a goal, like you could want to be professional, even though you aren't now.
Interesting.
You can create your own.
Ooh.
The best. Is that...
The best.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm going with strange. I'm just going to put that in.
What about Larry?
Larry!
Larry is good.
Larry's great. Tay is definitely Larry. Yeah, whatever.
Lads.
Slag, you slag.
No, you slag.
Larry it is.
You slag.
You what, mate?
You fucking what?
So
And for the Americans in the audience, we're doing a good example of what a Larry person would be like if you haven't.
I don't know what
You're gonna do some fucking crimes, mate.
I don't know what voices you all have prepared, but you better get ready to switch them because we're all being Louise from the Council Estate.
Anyway, Larry is the...
Larry.
Okay, we're Larry Shadows.
Larry.
If you get caught, you're really fucking Larry about it.
I mean, I think that's probably true.
Okay, we're going to skim over stuff like lair and district because I haven't drawn a map of the entire city. So,
Cool.
What?
fuck yourselves. We're going to choose a special ability now. Everyone look at the list of special abilities for the crew, and what do we reckon?
I mean, I feel like pack rats just feels appropriate at the moment, given the start. But I really like the idea of us being synchronized, or going for veteran and stealing something from somewhere else.
But then we have to look at all of the other crews, which I personally don't want to do.
Well, synchronized, I don't think, or that, when you perform a group action, you may count multiple sixes from different rolls as critical successes. You don't have very much overlap, so that might never come up.
I think that patron seems quite good because that's like a unified, like there's a person or thing that has unified us and is sort of looking after us. You know, I've fallen from the family, Ralph's character has fallen from a family.
Yeah, that would work with the,
I
the
thought
goblin
patron
who
was
has
quite
brought you all
interesting as well.
together. Who I neglected to name in my intro, so I guess we're doing that right at the end.
It's the traditional way of
everyone steals just seems pretty good to me as well. If you're a bunch of shadows, each PC may add +1 action rating to prowl, finesse, or tinker. Like, especially because
No, I don't need any of them for my character.
But I was going to say, half of us don't have anything in any of those, so like it might be actually useful if we've got to do some sort of group sneak.
Okay, I have an interesting one that I've just found from the Bravos crew.
Oh, bravo.
Forged in the fire. Each PC has been toughened by cruel experience. You get +1d to resistance rolls. Every single one of our backstories was fucking tragic and brutal.
We've got a fucking traumatic childhood.
Everyone's got a dark past. We're all traumatized. We've got loads of adverse childhood experiences. Okay, I feel like that might be an appropriate thing to go for. Because the other thing is, I don't feel like we're particularly shadows yet. Because I feel like this is probably the first time the four of us have got together. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're a cohesive group already.
I still have no idea why I'm with you.
Well, exactly. That's why I kind of think that pick something that benefits all of us, but as individuals, if that makes sense to start with, and then I don't know. Tove hates this idea, so Tove, do you want to take it away?
Because you pick more abilities, don't you, as you kind of level up the crew? So
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so you could start off with something that's a bit more individualistic, and then when you've bonded as a team, then you'll
become synchronized.
More, yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like we feel like a bunch of individuals at the moment, so we should play to that. Do you know what I mean?
But then equally, I think patron would also support that.
And it's the goblin.
I think Forged in Fire might cut, if this is a sort of short run campaign, Forged in Fire will probably come up and be more helpful than Patron. It might be a little while before you advance your tier.
And especially the fact that quite a few of you have no resistances in various bits and pieces.
Don't need resistances.
Yeah, I don't hate Jack's idea at all, to be fair.
I'm just
my
gaming,
my plan is to simply never get hurt.
How's that work
Always
out?
roll a 6.
Having as few boons as possible and being as close to death as possible is the dream, right?
Yeah, you've got to get right to the edge. That's
If we take Forged in Fire, that's resistance rolls get better. You can choose never to do resistance rolls, so Bambi can still just fuck himself.
Wait, no, hang on.
can
What?
simply choose to die.
He has the choice to let bad things happen to him?
Yeah, I will impose a
Yeah.
consequence on
Oh,
you,
no.
and then you have the option of resisting.
Okay, could we do that as a group decision? Because if Bambi has the choice to let something bad happen to him, he's going to choose that every time. It's going to be like,
Well, no, 'cause
flavour.
the crew stays on. So Bambi can cycle through
He's going to be
as many
like
characters as he
Imperial
likes.
Guard in the Warhammer game, and just
Yeah.
every episode he's going to have a different character.
Yeah.
I can hear him smiling.
This noble family had a lot of disgraced sons.
Cousins.
Veteran it is. Okay, next is assigning crew upgrades. We have 2 already. We're going to pick 2 more. If your crew has a cohort, which you don't, end of sentence. So the upgrades are in the top. We're going to look at, you can be steady, have extra stress, thief rigging, so you can carry more stuff, or underground maps and pass keys.
I feel like steady makes sense. I feel like we've got nothing. That's the narrative I'm going with. That we're new, we've been thrown together.
Yeah.
We don't really have stuff, but we've all been through shit. So
That makes sense to me.
yeah. Does that feel reasonable?
Yeah.
Apart from Bambi's character, who's obviously useless.
Just wait till I start talking.
I, for one, look forward to Bambi's character voice.
So do I. Can you get more points in lair? So can you have a hidden boat?
Yes.
A hidden boat vault?
Oh, the lair is hidden. You can also have a boat.
Oh, but it can't be a hidden boat vault.
Got to save up for a boat.
It could be.
Surely.
Why save up for one? Why not steal one?
Oh.
Blaze in the dark.
Mission number 1.
Mission number 0.1. Before the mission that Tove has actually prepared. So when I DM, Ralph plays the goody two-shoes that pushes everyone along the railroad tracks that I carefully create. Who's doing that for Tove? Is it still Ralph? Are you feeding anyone little nuggets of knowledge and information so they stay on your side, Tove?
Not yet. I am now.
I mean, I will say only one of us made their character sheet before this session.
I was going to say, Lou feels like... Lou strikes everyone as the most organised person when it comes to it, but is actually the most chaotic when it comes to making decisions about where the party goes. I feel like. Is that reasonable? I feel like that's reasonable. You're like...
It's not unreasonable.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so safety tools, which I'll just slip in here. We have been playing together for quite a while, so we haven't really done this in the past, because I know what gets on all your wicks, and we all push that as far as we think we can. In terms of genre of the piece, there isn't going to be any like violence against children or sexual assault of any kind. Other than that, fairly fair game. But if we start getting into something that we're not entirely comfortable with, you could just say red flag and we'll stop and probably stop recording and have a chat about where we want to go next. If something's making you a bit uncomfortable that you don't want to stop everything for, you can say yellow flag and I'll take that as a skip to the end kind of indication. Like if I'm getting a little bit too into describing some torture as an example, so like, oh, can we yellow flag this? I'll be like, and then it ends, and we carry on with this. This is what you got from the scene.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's sort of the stuff we would probably do anyway, but it's good to model these things as the responsible podcast.
So it feels like when Clint McElroy started seducing plants, Justin and Travis could have put up a yellow flag and said, "Can we skip to the end of the scene?" Because I'm deeply uncomfortable with my dad.
Now, that would be a green flag moment. That would be go into more detail, please.
Oh yeah, we'll do that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Now that we've clarified that Lou is playing a 19-year-old, there won't be any violence against children.
Yes, there can be violence against Lou specifically.
Does this mean that in the D&D campaign there is constantly violence against children?
No,
because Gus is a child who gets attacked by undead and eels.
Very rarely. Most of the time, it's a giant hyena that gets attacked. In my defense,
who is above the age of majority?
Yeah. Well, let's not go there.
Probably above. It's probably an adult.
To be fair, a 13-year-old hyena is
Gus 13?
A fully grown.
No.
How old's Gus?
17 or 18, wasn't she?
Yeah, Gus is
I thought
17.
Gus was like 13.
No, awful.
No.
She may have been before we started podcasting.
Yeah, she grew a lot
Back in the time before time.
That pre. Yeah, I mean, I think.
Well, we all did.
I think it's worth saying that we are a bunch of friends as well as players for the most part. So we know each other inside and outside of the game. We understand what makes each other tick, but we're also all quite conscientious people that wouldn't bring up, really difficult scenarios without saying first, "Oh gosh, this is a bit rogue," or something in between.
Just DM Tove if there's anything is like, do not touch this.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's, we as a general rule take care, and invariably, doing a public thing like this with all you thousands of listeners, we may upset someone along the line with something. We'll try our best not to, and if we do, let us know, because that's certainly not our aim. But we'll do our best to revise things as we go.
And you lot as players, feel free to talk to each other about me and unionise. I fully support the unionisation.
We do support the union.
We historically, as a podcast, have been very loud in our support of unions.
Yes, no matter how much strikes have really made our lives hard, we absolutely support them in every... Go listen to our live show if you want to... Yeah.
As I ballot for the second time in the last 6 months.
Yeah, sames.
Yeah. It's all good times here in the UK.
It's cool. It's a good country.
Yeah, we live in a functional country.
Crashing.
It's so fucking functional.
Okay, so does anything remain?
Yes.
We'll talk about rules as we encounter them through gameplay, I think.
Wait, there's rules?
Unfortunately, yeah, you're going to be rolling some dice as well, so watch out for that one.
What?
D6s only?
Only D6s.
Oh, does that mean that the one rules lawyer player doesn't know the rules, so we can just blag everything?
The magic of Blades is that everything is blagged.
Who's the one rules lawyer player?
Ralph.
See, now that's the thing, but you haven't seen me play.
Yeah, but I've seen you DM.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I mean. I'm a completely different player. I'm really antsy about the rules.
Well, so as a player, you're really antsy about the rules you don't know.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Yes, that's it. It's historically that it was awful. And
wait,
I'm do my
let's
best
check the rules. Let's check. Oh, okay, yeah. I concede.
That's generally how it went most of the time, and unless I threw all of my toys out of the pram, in which case I got so upset that I just was like, meh.
And we didn't play again for 13 years.
Yes, I'm going to try and be as relaxed about rules play as a player as I am when I'm DMing, because the DMing, I'm like, it's not as important as the fun of the team and the listeners. Whereas for some reason as a player, I'm like, fuck that, I want to win.
Thankfully, there is no adversarial relationship between Game Master and players in Blades. We are all coming together to tell a story. And it doesn't have to be the story
there are some elements where the GM has
tell.
the final say, and there are some elements where the players have the final say.
Oh shit, is there?
Yup.
Okay, so the final step is looking at what factions your crew is friendly and unfriendly with. I'm going to give you that one. The goblin who has woken you up so rudely, her name is Pakosti, and she has put you all up in this tavern for one reason or another overnight. And now she is asking for payback. Okay, you bunch of layabouts, you're going to pay me back. And you know how you're going to do that? You're going to start a war for me.
Dun dun dun.
Credits.
Thanks for listening to Of Dice and Them. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. please leave a review on your favourite podcasting platform and subscribe to be notified as soon as new episodes drop. In the meantime, give us a follow at Of Dice and Them on social media, where you can also find out how to follow our cast. And we'll see you next time.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing!
Say it again!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to 5 Gems in a Trench Coat.
Excuse me?
Yeah?
What's that? You want to know what 5 gems in a trench coat is? Let us tell you.
It's the adhesive that keeps the fragile pieces of my sanity together.
Well, okay, Jesse, what it actually is a narrative-driven TTRPG actual play where 5 friends take turns weaving stories through the tabletop game of their choice.
Of their choice.
Each season?
Each season.
That's pretty cool.
I disagree.
Oh.
I feel it's the adhesive.
So, like, you guys aren't all in a trench coat?
No, we're definitely in a trench coat.
How does that work?
Get her.
Before I'm caught, you can check out 5 Gems in a Trench Coat just about anywhere you get your podcasts, or you can check out our website at 5gemsinatrenchcoat.com. Oh my god, they really are all in a trench coat.